Are energy drinks dangerous? We'll let you know the latest about the 5 deaths associated with Monster energy drinks.
The state of Georgia prohibits texting and driving, and soon you could be fined for texting and walking.
Now that the election is over, has your Twitter and Facebook timeline changed? How did you cope when social media was inundated with political posts? That and more on this episode of Panther Report. Good evening, Georgia State. I'm Josh Smith.
And I'm Miriam Chigueros.
President Barack Obama won the election, beating Mitt Romney by 126 electoral votes, which includes Florida's results after a 4-day count. Now President Obama has to win over the Congress as he anticipates immediate decision-making regarding the $7 trillion fiscal cliff.
Georgia State students crowded the Student Center to await the results of the 2012 election. CNN and GSU campus media were present to cover the student reaction.
Voted for Mitt Romney, the Republican candidate, because we really like his view on the economic platform and how he can actually fix it. He has a plan, he has business experience, he basically knows what he's doing, what he's talking about, and he has a goal. He's not just giving empty words, he's not saying hope and change, but he knows what needs to be done to fix the economy so we can have an economy that supports jobs later on, not just hand people things, but actually make them work for it and grow, and not only in our economy, but so we can compete globally too.
I voted for President Obama today. And the part of his platform that I really strongly supported was his healthcare initiative, because I feel like Obamacare really will help out a lot of people who can't afford to have healthcare of their own. And with me, I have a cousin in my family who has sickle cell anemia, so her insurance bills are really high. So I think that his healthcare bill helps her out a lot. So that's one of the big reasons I ended up voting for President Obama.
Thousands are still displaced in the northeast region of the U.S. after Superstorm Sandy pummeled the coast and brought flooding and wind damage inland. According to Reuters, there are estimated $50 billion in property damage and economic loss. Mayor Bloomberg issued aid to the storm victims, including 2 million meals and 500,000 liters of water.
Georgia State has cut 110 positions in response to the budget cuts ordered by Governor Nathan Deal due to the weak economy. Georgia State University President Mark Becker says the cuts were mostly administrative support positions and that the university will save close to $5 million. The university cut 300 jobs in 2009, resulting in a savings of $9 million.
While tuition is at one of the highest levels of all time across the nation, students are seeing their financial aid cut. A large number of students at Georgia State University rely on the Hope Scholarship and Pell Grant. But what happens when students see their financial aid awards slashed? Reporter Cody Long joins us in the studio with more about the effect this is having at GSU.
There's no question that today's college students are struggling financially. In this fall semester, Georgia State has seen hundreds of its students dropped from their classes because they simply can't afford them.
I think that's terrible. Higher education, I feel like that's something that people are owed. That should just be a right for people. I don't really think education is a privilege, it's the right. So
Courtney Branch couldn't see it coming. A record number of students automatically dropped from their classes. But she certainly felt the effects of rising tuition and Hope Scholarship cuts. The amount she pays out of pocket is now 5 times the amount she paid just 2 semesters ago.
I just worked an extra job. I'm doing an internship, which luckily is paid. I probably wouldn't have been able to do an internship if it wasn't paid, or else I wouldn't be able to pay my tuition.
This large drop is a stark contrast to just 1 year ago for Georgia State, when it enrolled the largest number of students in the university's nearly 100-year history. Allison Calhoun Brown coordinates the university's efforts to retain and graduate students at GSU.
This is the largest drop that the university has ever had.
How many? About how many?
We dropped several hundred more than we have in years past.
She says the university saw it coming, but they were disappointed at the magnitude of the drop. The problem for students is that when they are told they will be dropped, there's nothing that she can do.
We are not legally allowed to extend credit. It'd be nice to say, oh, you take several months to pay. We're not legally allowed to do that. If students have a balance, they must be dropped.
Now the university has started a new initiative. Instead of having students come into advisors for help, advisors are going to the students proactively.
We're reaching out to them, we're calling them, we're emailing them. We're doing everything that we can possibly do to communicate with them so that they can come in and talk to us.
And Brown says that in the past 8 weeks, they have re-enrolled about 200 of those students, and says they have reached out to every student who was dropped and will continue to do so.
According to the Georgia State University Police, a student was struck in the face after being approached by 5 men on Piedmont and Decatur Street. She was struck after one of the men took her cell phone and then all 5 fled on foot. The student did not suffer major injuries. If you have any information, contact GSU Police at 404-413-2100.
Atlanta news anchor Amanda Davis was arrested and charged with DUI early Sunday morning after being questioned by police about her involvement in a wrong-way crash. Davis crashed into another vehicle after driving northbound on a southbound lane in Atlanta. The other driver involved was transported to Grady Hospital after complaining of minor injuries. Davis was taken to jail for failure to maintain lane and reckless driving.
The voice of Elmo, Kevin Clash, has been silenced after allegations of having sex with an underage boy. Clash denies the allegations and took a leave of absence from his 27-year career as the well-known Sesame Street puppet. Clash is scheduled as a guest for GSU's Distinguished Speaker Series. However, there is no word as to whether he will still attend.
Macy's is preparing for Christmas at Lenox Square. The Macy's Christmas tree was selected and chopped down in Mableton on Thursday. Crews chopped down the Christmas tree that will be on the roof of the Macy's store and continue the more than 60-year-long Atlanta holiday tradition. The 35-year-old 60-foot-tall Georgia white pine was donated by the Green family of Mableton.
Georgia State University is celebrating International Education Week with more than 30 events highlighting the benefits of international education. This event is a joint initiative of the U.S. Department of State and the U.S. Department of Education to promote the programs that prepare Americans for a global environment and attract future leaders from abroad to study, learn, and to have cross-cultural experiences in the United States.
After recent investigation by the FDA, there is continued controversy over the content in energy drinks, especially after Monster energy drinks have been accused of some serious allegations. Stephanie Chainock has more on this story.
The Food and Drug Administration are now investigating Monster energy drinks. The drink has been linked to 5 deaths since 2009.
If a product is killing people, then that's something that you usually do investigate. Although it's kind of unfair because there are other products too that cause people to die, things like cigarettes. So there's definitely a bias, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think an investigation wouldn't hurt, but I don't think it's any reason to completely attack the company until you know all the facts about how the deaths happened.
Monster energy drinks do not disclose caffeine levels, but labels do warn not to drink more than 3 cans in 24 hours.
It's pretty surprising that something that's unregulated could be something that could also kill you.
I'd say it's not really that surprising if people don't know their limits on how much they're drinking.
Many consumers have alleged Monster energy drinks have caused anxious and abnormal feelings.
I never really noticed much of a crash. I guess like a little bit of shakiness before, but that's really all.
I'm drinking tea right now. I don't know how much caffeine this is, but now that we're on the topic, it's kind of makes me nervous to think about how much caffeine I might consume in a day. So I can see in the future things to address this issue. Probably will be having to put the nutritional content, I guess, of the drink.
The FDA continues to investigate Monster energy drinks and its influence on adolescents and children. This is Stephanie Chainock with Panther Report.
The African American Studies Department held a roundtable discussion this past weekend called The Spark That Lit the Fuse. This roundtable discussion dealt with the 1992 student sit-in that shut down Georgia State University and led to the creation of the Department of African American Studies in the 90s. This event featured students and faculty who participated in the historical sit-in. Coming up next,
Arkansas and New York have already considered outlawing walking and texting. Is Georgia next? Stay tuned for more.
GSU's Catherine Showalter excelled at the Sun Belt Conference Championship on October 27th. More on this next.
What can you do to be politically active on social media? What are some of the benefits and downfalls of being politically active on social media? Find out on this episode of Panther Report.
Good morning, Atlanta.
Does it feel like your alarm clock goes off earlier every morning? Do you have trouble waking up? Have you seen a doctor about this? If not, you can get your daily dose of caffeine at Saxby's.
Beating out dozens of other major university newspapers from around the country, the Signal was recognized by the Associated Collegiate Press on November 4th as the best student newspaper in its division at the National College Media Convention. The independent student newspaper based out of Georgia State University competed in the Associated Collegiate Press's largest division, the four-year weekly tabloid. The paper was evaluated on its most recent issue, which covered the election, and was graded for its design, photography, writing, and overall presentation by top college media advisors.
The lines were long at polling sites throughout Fulton County on Election Day, but not for pop star Usher. He was taken to the front of the line by poll workers when he came through a back door at the Bill Johnson Community Activity Building in Roswell, Georgia. The special treatment of the Grammy Award winner upset a number of voters.
Cross-country runner of the year, Catherine Showalter of GSU's women's cross-country team, left a lasting image for her competitors at the Sun Belt Conference Championship. She placed first in her 5K run, raising the bar for athletes participating in spring sports. Reporter Jay LaBelle has more.
On October 27th, in Bowling Green, Kentucky, GSU's Runner of the Year, Catherine Showalter of the women's cross-country team, dominated at the Sun Belt Conference Championship.
A lot of people, it's hard to say because a lot of people might just say, oh, this is all talent. But obviously I think it's hard work because I think I work hard. And part of it I think is just really enjoying what you do. Because I think everybody, at least on my team, always go through times when they just wish they could quit, especially when you're injured. Just the concept of giving up is like really lame, like can't just give up. Georgia State hasn't won a conference meet for cross country in so long, and I don't know, it's just nice when everybody's all talking about you.
According to Georgia State University's head cross country coach, Christopher England, this is Catherine's 4th year as a varsity member. As a freshman, she finished in 90th place of 100 runners at the cross country championship in 2009. Today, she is number 1 on the GSU's women's cross country team. This Sunbelt victory was crucial for the team to continue to raise the bar for other GSU athletes.
Well, it's great for Georgia State that the first championship we had to play in the Sunbelt Conference, we won. So that kind of says Georgia State can do something. Our golfers are basically ranked the highest in the country right now of any team in the Sunbelt. Our freshman is the #1 ranked player in the Sunbelt. So we feel like we have a great chance at conference come April next year.
As the season ends, look out for Catherine Showalter in the indoor and outdoor track and field seasons from December to May of 2013. Also, congratulations to Coach England, who was selected as Sunbelt Coach of the Year. Reporting from the Student Recreation Center, Jay LaBelle, Panther Report.
Politics has not only taken over our TV screen, but our social media sites as well. Frequent social media users find politics on social media to have many advantages and disadvantages. Here is reporter Sapphire Russell with more on this story.
Social media use has risen tremendously over the past few years, along with expanded political use online, mainly by users 18 through 29 years old. Social media users have become politically active on sites such as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr by promoting political material, encouraging others to vote, posting thoughts on issues, or joining political groups such as Georgia State's Young Democrats political Facebook page.
Social media plays such a big role in my life because I'm so busy, but social media is like always there, so it definitely keeps me informed and, you know, quick to the point.
Some users find politics on social media helpful by allowing citizens to friend or follow politicians and easily stay up to date on their thoughts or opinions. Other users find it to be problematic due to millions of uninformed individuals spreading inaccurate information due to lack of research.
Social media distorts a lot of opinions and perceptions of what politics are, so no, I don't think it has allowed me to be more active.
Politics on social media can be a dangerous or powerful tool depending on how you use it. Experts advise to fact-check all political posts found online to verify accuracy. Reporting from Georgia State, Sapphire Russell, Panther Report.
Speaking of politics, the states of Colorado and Washington both passed measures for the legalization of recreational marijuana use. Both states are now holding off on plans to regulate and tax the drug while waiting to see whether the Justice Department will assert federal authority or other drug laws.
U.S. General David Petraeus, CIA director and revered military man who was credited with commanding the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, resigned from his post Friday. He admitted to having shown poor judgment by engaging in an extramarital affair. President Barack Obama said, quote, Petraeus led the Central Intelligence Agency with characteristics of intellectual rigor, dedication, and patriotism.
Apple has confirmed that they will begin shipping the cellular versions of its latest, smallest tablet, the iPad mini. They plan on distributing 3 million units of the newest model.
As of Friday morning, a gas rationing plan went into effect in New York, allowing motorists to fill up every other day. Utility crews have made some progress in the restoration of power outages to regions affected by Superstorm Sandy. Mayor Bloomberg said, this is designed to let everybody have a fair chance so lines aren't too oppressive and we can get through this.
There is a $150 fine for texting and driving. But how would you feel about paying a fine for texting and walking? Stephanie Joy has more on distracted texting.
The chirping signifies it's time to walk, but for others, it also means it's time to text.
Well, texting and walking I think is fine. Texting and driving obviously is deadly. A lot of data that says so.
We've been warned about texting and driving to the point of no return, as it's been banned since 2010.
Texting and driving can be dangerous. It was a lot easier before the uproar of smartphones when you could just fill around your keypad. But now touching a screen, not knowing exactly where buttons are, it takes too much attention off of the road, and things can happen.
Now the trend has shifted to texting and walking, or distracted walking.
Maybe you should just wait or stop, not in the middle of the street, and send your text message.
New York is leading the way to pass a law to ban pedestrians from using their cell phones while crossing the street. This may trickle down to Atlanta. Doctors say that distracted walking can land you in the hospital with injuries ranging from head trauma to broken hips.
I think I almost died today doing that. So it's not up there with texting and driving, but it's up there.
Avid texters beware, because Fort Lee, New Jersey officials aren't waiting for a ban to pass. They've grouped distracted walking with jaywalking and issue offenders an $85 ticket.
Walking and texting? It's a bit too controlling, but if they see there's a problem with it, maybe there was a need for it.
In the meantime, remember these 3 tips. There's probably an app compatible for your phone which allows you to convert your voice into a text. You could delay your response. And finally, if it just can't wait, make a phone call instead. No final word yet on how Georgia will handle distracted walking, but until then, text responsibly. Stephanie Joy, Panther Report.
In international news, Japan felt a rumble in the arrival of a 5.5 magnitude earthquake. No damage or injuries have been reported. There was no risk of a tsunami. This comes a day after a 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck off the Pacific coast of Guatemala, where the death toll was last quoted at 52 and expected to rise. The quake has caused continued forced evacuations as far as Mexico City.
Dating back to 2500 BC, the tomb of an ancient Egyptian princess has been discovered south of Cairo, hidden in bedrock. Archaeologists are puzzled by the location of the findings. According to Miroslav Barda, director of the mission, the investigation and excavation are still in process.
After days of rioting resulted from the approval of the €32 billion austerity measure passed in Greece, the Eurozone Financial Committee is meeting to discuss additional budgeting through even more austerity that will ensure that Greece won't run out of money in 2013. Despite the overage 100,000 protesters and demonstrations, the newly proposed measures will present more cuts, including cuts in wages and pensions. We'll be back after this break with a sports update.
Welcome and thanks for tuning in to GSTV. We are the Executive Board members of Student Government Association, and my name is Marcus Kernes, and your president.
I'm Taylor Briggs, the Executive Vice President.
My name is Christian Hill, Vice President of Student Services.
My name is Adriana Michoni. I'm your Vice President of Academic Affairs.
My name is Thea Mohamuza. I'm your Vice President of Budget and Finance.
I'm Danielle Kleinman, and I am your Vice President of Public Relations.
My name is Jarrell Abrams, and I am your Vice President of Student Life.
Are you worried about your schedule getting in the way of the educational and cutting-edge seminars that Georgia State University has to offer? Well, we have great news for you. Starting this semester, these seminars will be available online thanks to GSTV and a partnership from us here at Student Government Association. From the prospect of resume building to the distinctive keynote speakers, we know that these seminars will help enrich your student experience.
Thanks for tuning in, and remember, our student government sit-in meetings will be broadcast live on GSTV every other Thursday at 7 p.m. Go Panthers!
In sports news this week, Bill Curry swallows his last jagged pill after being beaten by the Maine Black Bears 51-7. This is Curry's last game, and he says that the team played very poorly. This game was the last of Curry's career.
The streak of perfection was broken after the Falcons lost to their rivals last weekend. The New Orleans Saints beat the Atlanta Falcons 27-31. The Falcons lost their lead after a 31-yard field goal was executed by the Saints' Garrett Hartley. That's all for your Panther Report news. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode.
Don't forget to check us out on Channel 91 in University Housing and on our YouTube page, GSTV Panther Report, every Wednesday at 6 p.m.
Make sure to visit our Facebook page at www.facebook.com/Panther Report. I'm Josh Smith.
And I'm Miriam Chigueros. Have a good night.